Hello, I'm Jamie and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about the secret task in Taskmaster Series 16. Now we are halfway through the season and it's been a fantastic season so far. I was going to do this video as kind of like a mid-season kind of review to see like what I like about it so far. But then I kind of went in deep with the whole Taskmaster, like the secret task theories, so I'm going to be doing that instead. My thoughts on the series so far is that it could potentially be one of my favourite ones. I'm thoroughly enjoying it. Like the weeks seem so long in between episodes. Oh god, I'm back to listening to the podcast as well, because half the time I kind of let the podcast sway my opinion a bit, but I've got back into that. Like, I am thoroughly enjoying every second of this season. I think all the contestants are fantastic. They've all got their own strengths, but they're able to blend very well together. The studio environment is fantastic. I'm jealous of everybody who got to go to the studio. It's just continuously surprising me, and the tasks are great. It's just been brilliant. And then we've got this added element of there potentially being a secret task, which has never really been done before. Yes, I wasn't particularly, like I mentioned it in my first episode review because it was mentioned in there, and I kind of was just going to let it go, but then Alex keeps mentioning it, and I keep seeing people put theories online about where they think the task could be, what the task is, and yes, I've kind of gotten a little bit obsessed with it, so I'm going to be talking about all my favourite theories and trying to work out what's happening with this secret task. So there has been a secret task in Taskmaster New Zealand. I'm not going to go too in depth with it because I don't want to spoil it if you haven't seen it yet, but I would highly recommend. It's in season 3. So there was a secret task in that, and this was literally just a normal looking task that was underneath a prop in the house, and one of the contestants just picked up the prop and found the task, and it was a task that he could have done at any point in the show. He could choose when he did. He didn't have to do it immediately, and it was something that he could have, it wasn't that serious. Like, it wasn't a very difficult task. It was just something funny that was added in. Nobody, as far as I'm aware, were told to look out for a secret task. The kind of existence of this task was revealed when he did it, not when he found it. So because he found it quite early on in the show, like the way it was aired, but it was only revealed in like the second to last episode or the last episode, I can't quite remember. But yeah, there was no mention of it. It was very much a surprise when the secret task was revealed. So theory 1 is that they could be doing something similar to this. So they have just placed a random task underneath one of the props around the house, and it's fairly easy to find. It's not like they have to do like one of the escape rooms to try and find this task. It's not something that they have to put much effort in. If they wanted to look for it, they could and find it somewhat easily, or they can just find it by accident. I do feel that it is maybe a bit trickier because Alex keeps mentioning it. To me, he definitely feels like he's pushing them to try and find this task. So this links to these main theory that people have about the secret task, and that it is in the living room. Particularly, it is the black and white TM logo underneath the portrait of Taskmaster in the living room. I thought this as well, like even before checking it on like Reddit and the Facebook group. It is very obvious that they're directing our attention to that desk and the portrait, and that looks like the shape of a task. So I definitely feel like it's that. They're purposefully using the same camera angle. Alex is asking the contestants in the living room, for the most part, I'll get onto the exception in a bit, for the most part is asking them about the secret task in the living room. So for me, that definitely feels like that's where it is. If I were to pick a contestant that I thought had found it, I would definitely say Sam found it in the underneath it task. I think that's the most likely, because he would have been picking up loads of different things in that room and could have very easily found it there. So that's my leading theory. However, I didn't notice that the Taskmaster black and white thing looked different after he'd done that task. So it might not be there, but he might have found it in the living room if it is in the living room. That's to say, like, that any of the other contestants could have found it in that task as well. But I just feel like since his was kind of, he did the most stuff, it seems unlikely that he would have found it. I have seen some people kind of not think that he found it in that, or that any of them found it in that one, but in my opinion it's not going to be revealed until like the 9th or 10th episode because of how much they're kind of building it up. So I definitely feel like that even if they have found it in one of the tasks that we've seen, they just haven't shown us. I think that makes total sense. It's what they did in Taskmaster New Zealand. Some people also pointed out that there is task written on the corridor wall. which we noticed in the first episode straight after seeing, them being told about it. This one just feels less obvious to me. To me, this just feels like a bit of decoration. My personal strongest theory, if it is something that's kind of hidden in like a task, I would say it's definitely under the portrait or near the portrait. Maybe it's just in the drawer of that table that's there. So to me, that's where it feels like it's directing the audience to look. Whether or not it's actually there, I don't know, but that's definitely the strongest thing for me. There is also a very strong theory that there is not a secret task at all, and that Alex is just messing with the contestants and just messing with us. I wouldn't put it past them. I think it's very plausible that they would do that. Alex has hinted at having secret tasks before. There was an episode in series 6 where there were lots of tasks around the room that like nobody really picked up on, like none of the contestants did. And they just had like ridiculous tasks in. So, and then there is like on podcasts, he has hinted at secret tasks, but then he always kind of follows it up with like, oh, maybe I'm just lying, maybe we haven't done it. So I definitely feel like they could just be messing with us. Also, in episode 3, someone managed to screen grab the point where Greg kind of turned to the camera and his cue cards were visible. And on those cue cards, there were mentions of the secret task. Again, it was just kind of things being like, have we hidden a secret task? You'll never find out. Like, we're just messing with you kind of things. None of that was mentioned in the show. And I believe it wasn't mentioned in the studio recording either. So, yeah, I definitely feel like they're messing with us in a way. But I do feel like because they keep mentioning it, I definitely feel like we're going to see this secret task. I think it exists, and like I said, I wouldn't put it past them that they're just messing with us if it was like 1 or 2 mentions, but because it's like a mention every episode, I do feel like it has to exist, but who knows. The cue card thing actually does kind of back up my theory a little bit to what I said with maybe potentially Sam finding it or somebody else finding it in the underneath it task, because it was the same episode that the secret task was written on those cue cards that it was where we got the mention of secret task, and it was in the same room again, and lots of chaos going on in that room where somebody very easily could have found it. So that could back it up a little bit. Like, is it a coincidence? I don't know. Is it a coincidence that was written in the 3rd episode? Like, did something happen in one of the tasks that was shown in that episode that maybe somebody found it? But again, they're not going to mention that somebody found it before revealing to us what the secret task is. Like, we're going to see them do something to do with the secret task and then it'll be revealed that it's the secret one. Like, that's to me how I would do it. That's how it worked with the New Zealand one. The other possible rooms it could be in is there is strong theories to believe that it's in the lab from the last episode. So the white table with the red like water looked like a task. And to me, it looked like there was something possibly under the table, but that might just be the things that they had. Like, I don't know why there was tape on the table, since it didn't like help Sue with anything when she was trying to figure out what the clue was saying. But that could just be like full blocking, like lining up where things need to go. It could just be that. So I'm not convinced, but that was the other room where Alex mentioned the secret task. The other strong theory is that they have already all found the task and they are secretly doing the task. So I was a bit unconvinced by this when I first heard it, but I am kind of beginning to get where people are coming from, and I think it would be quite cool if this is what was happening. So there are a few different theories within this theory. So the first one is the task that they've all been given this task, maybe like in their dressing rooms or somewhere where Alex isn't there to see it. Maybe it's been hidden very obviously that they're just going to see it and find it. And the task is to like hide the fact that they've found the secret task, or it's got something in there that they're supposed to hide from Alex, and that's why Alex keeps asking the questions and why they're all a bit like seemingly evasive about it. I feel like that's going to be quite difficult because Alex will then know they've all found it. So that's kind of where that one falls apart a little bit to me, but it could just be them tricking us rather than tricking Alex. Yeah, there is the thing where they've been given the task at the start, and the task is to kind of do something secretly at any point during the recordings, and then they have to choose when to do the task. Some people think it could be getting Alex to say a word without him knowing. So this one I think is quite funny. I'll be putting up pictures about where I've seen all these theories, if there is just like one major person it's come from. There are some theories that loads of people have talked about that I can't really link to one person, but I did see one person say that they believe that they are trying to get Alex to say a certain word. So this is like Sam's Pinocchio, Sue's portcullis, like they're trying to get him to say it, and if they get him to say it, then they kind of win the task. That I think is quite fun. I do quite like that one. Some people think it could just be anything, whereas I've seen some people say that it has to begin with P, which is why portcullis did seem very random to me. So, but that could just be Sue, and I'm not that like shocked by Sam's Pinocchio either, but I do think that's quite a fun idea. The next theory that people have is that they think it could be linked to the studio / the live tasks. I've seen some people say that they think Sam's like all grey outfits has something to do with it. Personally, I think that's just something that he's decided to do. We've had contestants before where they wear like the same like outfit in the studio every single time. Like, I just think that's something that he's doing, and I feel like that one's not the best one for me, like that particular example, but trying to get them to do something in the studio I think could be like plausible, but I don't know. I haven't really seen anything that could be a task that they are doing, in my opinion. However, even though I'm not convinced by the individual theories, I do think it's a strong idea that they are doing this task, or they've got to do something within the series to get points. This is because, for me, it seems like the can task was the first task that they did. The way Alex introduced himself, he was like, this is the living room. It very much seemed like to me like the introduction to the show. Like, it was the first task they were all doing. It's a good task to start with, in my opinion, as well, both as like for the contestants and for the viewer. I think it was a brilliant task. And to me, I feel like if I had just turned up to this show and Alex mentioned the fact that there was a secret task, I would be a bit more like curious about it. Everyone did seem to kind of like write it off, like they were a bit like, they didn't really seem that intrigued. I would say probably like Sam and Sue probably felt the most like they were interested in it, but everyone else were just kind of like, yeah, I'm not gonna find it, which to me felt a bit odd. But I know that they film these like this, the days are very long, they start very early, and apparently this one was filmed, well, say apparently, it was filmed in January. You can tell by like the snow outside that it was very cold. Maybe they were just like tired and cold and just wanted to get on with the task they were supposed to do and didn't want to be distracted by trying to find something else. And in the podcast, Sam mentioned that he thought he was going to, Alex was just saying that to him to kind of trick him and to distract him, which I understand that completely. So I can definitely get why they would perhaps feel like this is a trick to kind of take their minds off the actual tasks and to try and find this secret task that doesn't exist. I'm not quite sure. Like, I feel like it would be a really good idea to have them all do this secret task throughout. But again, like, if they keep mentioning it, then I feel like there has to be something. So yeah, I think my least favourite one is that there isn't going to be a task, because that would upset me, but I am way too invested in this. The last theory, and this is the most ridiculous one, and this idea is that the secret task is not for the contestants, it's for the viewers. I'm not sure how this would actually play out, but there are a few reasons why I feel like, even if there is a secret task in the show, that there is potentially something leading from all these secret task mentions. So the first reason why I think it could be for the audience is that they keep mentioning the secret task. It's something that's in pretty much every episode. It keeps getting mentioned like multiple times in the episode. It feels like they're definitely trying to get the audience to figure it out. I think they know that they've got a very dedicated audience, that we do kind of like to kind of delve into theories. I know there've been theories with like other contestants before, if they do something slightly strange outside of the show, that everyone thinks it's a task that they're doing on Taskmaster. The biggest example of this was Victoria, Corinne Mitchell's. She's just started wearing some like funny, slightly bizarre, outlandish outfits on Only Connect, and everyone was convinced that it was part of a task, but it was just something that she fancied doing. So, but people were so convinced, so I definitely feel like they might be playing with us a little bit. Also, is it an accident that the only time we've seen Greg's cue cards as a mention of the secret task? I don't know, is it too much of a coincidence? I think that even if there is a secret task in the episode, that there might be another book similar to the Find the Head of the Taskmaster book that Alex did last year or the year before, because that involved, the audience doing something to try and find out where this silver head was. So they could be trying to do something where we've kind of got to work something out, even if there's just little clues in the show, and then afterwards this like another kind of puzzle book is released. They've done quite a lot of different books, so I wouldn't be surprised if they did. That one is definitely the most outlandish theory, but again, I wouldn't be too surprised. So I think that's all the major theories I had seen or I'd thought of. I think it's such a fun thing to add in to the show. As I said, especially because they've got such like an interactive audience. Like there is such a great community of fans that love the show and love kind of coming up with their own theories. Like especially when there's you know, I'm seeing people theorise about the new contestants in like the series 17. Like we have a fan group that love to try and figure out what the show is doing, and I love that so much. So I definitely feel like they could be kind of toying with us or getting us like hyped for something that will later be revealed. One of the Andys mentioned that there is something like mind-blowing that happens in the final episode of this series. So I feel like that's got to be the secret task, unless it's just something completely different. I'm excited anyways about what else this season's going to have. As I said at the start of this video, I think this season has been incredibly strong. I have found this one so entertaining. There's been so many moments so far. We're only halfway through the season. There's been so many moments that have stuck in my head that like make me laugh on a daily basis. Like I'm always hyped for the next episode of Taskmaster, like any season it is, but this one has been just even stronger. Like, I think just, obviously, the contestants are all amazing, they're all hilarious. The tasks have been really strong. There's been kind of, you know, they've done some New Zealand tasks, which I always quite like, because I do mix it up a bit. There's, you know, and then there's this lingering idea that there is a secret task around the house that one of the contestants is probably going to find and do. And I think all the times there is a individual task, like, you know, Mark's cheeky texts or John Kearns' sabotage task, and like the idea of this secret task that someone's going to do. I mean, even in this one with Susan's mischief task, that was so funny. So I definitely feel like it's adding to this hype and excitement for people, especially for me. I'm really, really enjoying it. But yeah, I think this season has potential to be one of my favourites. I would say for my enjoyment, it's probably in the top 3 with season 7 and New Zealand series 2. Because, yeah, it's got that same energy, and that's the energy that I just love. I hope I don't sound too crazy talking about all these theories, but yeah, I think that's everything. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then please leave it a like. It really helps the channel. And comment down below your theories about the secret task. If you've seen this studio recordings, please no spoilers. And subscribe if you want to see more videos too of Taskmaster. I'll have some more out for you soon. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!